Hi, my name is Edward Georgian. Welcome to the first episode of my vlog. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I guess we'll all find out. The purpose of this vlog is for me to improve my personal brand as an artist and as a tattoo artist. Although I'll probably be drawing in charcoal or painting or something like that. Maybe not as much tattooing. The other purpose is to create a more disciplined life for myself, to focus on the idea of self-improvement and discipline. Another reason would be to improve on my communication skills, to create a community for myself. To be honest, I don't really like most people, and that's something I'd like to change by including more like-minded people in my surroundings. Another reason would be to help my future progeny with some sort of a repository of information. Maybe if they're going through something in life, they can come in and see how their dad kind of went through the same thing, and a place where they can learn from my mistakes, from my lessons. So the first topic I'm going to cover is Andrew Huberman's episode with David Goggins. They spoke about the anterior cingulate cortex, which I thought was amazing. I kind of want to cover that in this first episode to kick things off in a nice way. Tomorrow it might be some sort of pop culture commentary, but today it's going to be on the topic of what Andrew Huberman covered and how it relates to me, or how I relate it to myself. So he talks about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. From his words, a key hub for leaning into undesired effort. So basically doing difficult things that you don't want to do, so that you can improve your willpower. And from what he says, it's not enough to do difficult things and enjoy it. You basically have to do difficult things, and it has to be difficult for you to just even decide to do. It kind of has to be self-imposed kind of obligation. I hope I didn't butcher the definition. I'll probably leave a link to the episode, but I want to relate it back to myself and what I got out of what he was saying. Why willpower? Why is it important to me? Just first question that pops into my head. Why would anybody want to spend their time thinking about their willpower? I always thought it's something you either have or you don't have. From what Andrew Huberman says, it's a part of your brain that can, this anterior mid-cingulate cortex, it's a part of your brain that actually grows if you use it more often. And it actually shrinks if you're someone who's lazy or slovenly. Apparently, people who are heavier, they have a smaller. This part of their brain is actually much smaller. So how I relate it to myself, I think it's a much more fulfilling life to live on your own effort and your own account. When you have a strong willpower, you do things for yourself. You live with pride and honor, even though these things aren't, I feel like growing up in the US, I don't think these things are cherished like they used to be. But I think they're important. Having strong willpower also means that you can push yourself to live a longer, healthier life. It's a way to love and serve yourself that you can then in turn love and serve your loved ones, your values. When I was listening to this podcast, I realized that this concept alone wasn't enough for me, even though just understanding how the brain works, knowing that difficult things aren't going to be in vain. You're not just suffering. Um, so I do need more things to push me forward, and I started to go back to some of the times that I was much more disciplined. I was getting things done. I I was moving forward the way I wanted to move forward. And I realized, for example, when I was in art school, is that's probably some of the best examples I can give for myself. When I was in art school, I felt like I had more purpose, and because I had more purpose, I had more momentum, and these were the two things that I feel like I need to to take what Andrew Huberman and David Goggins were saying in this episode, and what I also need to actually do difficult things on a more consistent basis. For example, when I was in art school, again, I would do things I didn't want to do. For example, um, not sleeping. I think my record was 3 days of no sleep, which is very bad, and you will hallucinate. That's not a good thing. But I didn't want to do those things, but I felt like I had to so that I could achieve the goals that I set out for myself because they were very, very meaningful. And I also had a lot of momentum. Another example I would give is around the same time I had, no non-art jobs. For example, data entry, for just as an example, I would sneak off and with a little sketchbook just so I could do a little bit more drawing during work hours. I would take my little sketchbook into the bathroom and just do some sketches in my little sketchbook in the bathroom just so I could get more time drawing. And it kind of I can this that experience, I can relate it to this idea, this concept of greed, where it usually doesn't seem to like it would fit in this kind of in these ideas, in this context. But that's how I felt. I felt like I couldn't get enough. I couldn't know enough. I couldn't draw enough. I couldn't improve enough. I felt greedy. And so that's when I was at my best. That's when I moved forward the most. And so what they were speaking about was great and will help me and help me improve, because I know that there's a part of my brain now that gets activated when I do difficult things. But I also needed that experience so that I can marry them both, so that I can move forward. I would say the next thing I need to keep in mind going forward is looking for bad signs. I think it's not just about thinking about the positive, but for example, bad signs would it be, and it doesn't have to. For example, bad signs would be if everything that I'm doing is a chore, even though it seems like it would fly in the face of this lesson that I'm speaking about. But if everything is a chore, then it seems like your purpose is shifting, which is not a good thing, because then your momentum would die, and then your willingness to do difficult things, even things that you don't want to, would I think would wane. Another bad sign would be if I'm not thinking about it every day, all day. And that's kind of goes back to that idea of greed. It's that kind of that impulse for me to just keep wanting to improve, not knowing enough. That feeling is coupled with the feeling of momentum. I think that's what you get. It gets you going, gets your energy up even. Another sign, I would say, a bad sign would be kind of allowing other people's opinions to stifle me instead of instead of it helping me. I've experienced both. I've experienced where other people have said some things that have been not so favorable with the results of my work, and it got me to realize something about my work from a different perspective, and it allowed me to improve. I've also experienced the other end where, bad comments or unwanted opinions made me want to quit. And if it makes you want to quit, I think it's a bad sign. I should probably revisit some foundational concepts, some of the ideas around purpose. So, all in all, I'd say that this is where I'm going to start with. This is my first episode. I'm keeping it short and sweet. I don't know how long I'm gonna make these videos from now on. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. I'm trying it in this way. Hopefully, this format is acceptable and entertaining. I'm going to draw while I speak, and I'm going to draw on the subject matter, or at least something that's related. It's not going to be always some sort of educational thing, because I don't consider myself very well informed, but I do think about things differently. I've noticed that about myself, and I may comment on, viral videos or world events or something like that, but I'm going to definitely filter it through my perspective. But also, I'm going to maintain this path of becoming a more disciplined person, trying to achieve my goals. Visit my Instagram, my TikTok, if you want to see some of my tattoo work. You can look at that stuff over there. But over here, I'm mostly going to focus on improving the aspects of kind of my drawing, my foundational work that allows me to, I feel like, get ahead in tattooing, which is just traditional drawing, painting. Thank you for watching, and subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you next time.